In the U.S., where following Donald Trump's victory, an elector from a state the president-elect won says he's faced pressure and even death threats to change his decision in the Electoral College vote later this month. A youth vice chairman of the Michigan Republican Party, Michael Benarian, described to us the messages he received.
Unfortunately, this election cycle was pretty divisive on both sides of the aisle, and that's bled over into the weeks following it. And as a presidential elector from Michigan, unfortunately, I've just been inundated with hundreds and hundreds of emails, Facebook messages, letters to my home, about 4 or 5 a day, tweets. And in those messages, unfortunately, some of them have been death threats, death wishes, and just generally angry messages from people who can't accept the results of the election.
U.S. Electoral College voters are also facing other kinds of pressure ahead of the official election on December the 19th. More than 4.7 million people have signed a petition calling on electors to ignore their state's votes and cast their ballot for Hillary Clinton. Among electors themselves, some have been trying to convince others to vote for a compromise Republican candidate in a bid to stop Trump. And after calls from Clinton's camp and Jill Stein from the Green Party, a recount has been initiated in several states. Here's Michael Benarian again. He says those who are calling for a change to the election system aren't considering all possible consequences.
It's one of those situations where when you're on the losing side, you look for every possibility to change the outcome so that you can come out on top. And right now we have people on the left that are upset with Donald Trump winning. And so they're calling for a new system, a national popular vote, without really considering the consequences. That would leave so many Americans' voices out of the process, and it would allow our elections to really just be dominated by a few large population, densely populated states. So I guess I would say I'm not shocked, but more disappointed that Americans couldn't live up to the standard that we've always lived up to and just accept the results of these elections and move on as a united country.
Meanwhile, those struggling to accept the election result have found a number of ways to cope with Donald Trump's victory.
This after New Balance spokesman Matt LeBreton told the Wall Street Journal that things, quote, will move in the right direction with President-elect Donald Trump.
Colleges across the country are canceling tests, offering therapy dogs, and free passes to skip class to those students who are just so upset.
Specifically, the people who are very upset right now are primarily coming from the Democratic Party. And over the last, 8 years, the Democratic Party has been in power, and they've become more and more insulated. They've stopped listening to people with other opinions. They've really shut themselves off and tried to just railroad their policies through based on having a president in charge. Now the Democrats who previously were in charge are all of a sudden terrified. They don't know what's happened because they just have not been listening to the American people for 8 years. The American people have been having all kinds of political discussions, all kinds of political dissatisfaction, but the Democratic Party and many Democrats, unfortunately, have just been unaware of what's been going on. And now there's been this drastic and sudden wake-up call, and they just weren't ready for it.